Hello everyone, it's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have my co-host here with me. Hi ladies.
Good morning, Morayo.
Good morning.
Nima in the building.
Yo, yo, yo.
How you doing?
I'm very fine. We had a celebration yesterday.
Literally.
Oga is 10 months old.
Can you imagine?
And it was, when I was celebrating, the other sister was like, me too, I'm going to be 5.
That one is a rocky party.
Oh yeah, now Sele. So it was fun yesterday, and I had good news. My girl, you know, that takes care of Imran, had our WAEC result yesterday, and she had one sitting. She cleared all her papers, and she had an excellent result in mathematics.
Fantastic. Well, happy for her.
Good mentorship, madam.
fact,
well done.
It wasn't my work, but it's God. I'm just grateful.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yo. I'm heading to Mexico in October. I can't just wait. And we have a convention September 1st and 2nd. You know, I'm planning to go. Things are happening, Sha. You know, God has really been faithful. That's you know, this new business is working.
Fantastic. I'm glad. Within a year.
Yeah, I mean,
so you know it now. You're traveling to do the rest
within
of the
3 months.
Imagine. It's fantastic. Auntie, how you doing?
I'm very good.
Have we seen you this week?
No, this is my first time this week. Wow. I feel really excited. Jumoke and I were discussing a few weeks back, and she said that how would you feel when like when you know that God has your back? You don't need to ask. What you did not ask for is doing it. So don't worry, because He will do what you didn't ask for. I had some plans written like 2 years ago, and they seem to be coming together right now in a way that I'm wondering, I wrote it down 2 years ago. I didn't think about it, that it could work out like this. I'm really grateful to God. But I'm doing a shout out. This is, I'm entering Nima's mode. Today is, please come around me. Today is a special day for me. Kate Henshaw was a fantastic person to me this year, surprising me. Happy birthday, Kate Henshaw. God bless you and support you. I experienced your love personally this year. I've heard many things said about you, but I felt it. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Tokwa is almost tearing. Kate, thank you for touching her like that.
That's fantastic. Good, well done. So, let's take a break. Geez, today's what? Wednesday. Nothing major.
Very nude lipstick.
Yeah, it's nothing major happening. Don't worry, very soon I'll get into that zone. It's good. I'm happy that you guys are
That's
doing great things.
My mood today with my excitement.
Wearing a beautiful dress.
Right. Thank you. Thanks to Deja.
And I like the way your hair is packed.
This is also made. Oh, that girl is good. No, but you should
break.
hype the person now. She's
good. We'll come back. We'll look at the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the punch. Sheriff, PDP orders McAfee to raise disciplinary panel. Fixes August 12 for non-elective convention. All corrupt politicians must be brought to book, says Sheriff. Lagos State government to connect Ikorodu with Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. CBN extends support for Skybank by 1 year. Lagos Assembly member dies at 50. Scores feared killed in fresh southern Kaduna clashes. Abducted Lagos pupils are fined, says Owosheni. FIRS generates 1.78 trillion in 6 months, targets 1.8 trillion in VAT. Paris Club refund states gets 243.7 billion. APC members demand Banire's expulsion. Party 6 death threat probe. And an NHIS crisis minister to appear before reps July 27th.
I wanted to quickly talk about the Commissioner of Police, Fatai Owosheni, saying yesterday that the 6 Ekwe College boys are doing very fine, that we just need to keep on praying and stay hopeful that the police are doing the best that they can do to reconcile the boys to their parents. And
I was appealing to the parents also to be slightly more patient, that they'll definitely work.
He was actually commending them for being patient.
Yes.
I don't think they can be good when they are not at home. I want to talk about the connection. Lagos State is planning to connect Ikorodu, a Greek area of Ikorodu, with Arepo, Ogun State, which will end up linking to Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I think it is good, as many connections that we can have that will reduce that reduce traffic on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway directly would help out, because we need to have those at least options.
Although there's already a link to Shagam through the Ekpe Ikorodu, so
that's good. All right,
more links.
Moving on to The Nation. Governor forfeits 500 million naira as states get 243 billion naira refund. $500,000 for hotel seized. Are plans by Ogun, Oshun, Benue, others. Federal government targets 1.8 trillion from VAT. Ikeme still eyeing Eagles shirt. Lagos to join Odua's group. Zimbabwe needs $274 million. PDP convention holds August 12th, and Melaye stop INEC, Kogi APC tells court. Okay, so this forfeiture issue, this Paris Club refund.
Were able to get, they had gone to court to try to get a forfeiture on some of the monies that, you know, were paid from the first tranche of the Paris Club
that were diverted.
And they were able to get an unnamed governor refunded, you know, forfeited this amount of money because, you know, it did not show cause for why the money shouldn't be forfeited within the number of days given by the court. They also got a $500,000 forfeiture order done on the $3 billion diverted by said governor, who had been named as the Zamfara State Governor, Governor Yari, as the one who built the 100-room hotel in Lagos. Yep. It had been named in the papers sometime in the past. Yep. And, you know, although they were trying to, this particular report they were only able to get $500,000 out of that $3 billion.
Out of $3 million.
That's what
so what we're seeing here is that in the first tranche, monies were diverted.
Yes.
EFCC is investigating.
Yes.
And FG is now paying the same people
tranche
who diverted
second tranche. Because the objective of this payment is so that outstanding salaries can be, you know, cleared. Okay, unfortunately, there's corruption on the part of the governors, and, you know, all these diversions that we're hearing shouldn't be happening. Right. Every single state, because today, thank God, the Minister for Finance broke down what each state was getting. Right. Delta State and some other states are getting the larger amount of money, but Jumoke is better with figures. Every single state should know what their governors are getting. Yes. And they should know what is outstanding on salaries. Nation. Front page of Nation is mentioned in the Punch, front page of Vanguard. So please, go and buy the papers and know what your states are getting.
The money is supposed to be paid into the account of the state. And I know that the governors are entitled to immunity, but you have no right as a governor to take money that is meant for your state. Yes. And I think that we can't.
Immunity does not
the immunity should be waived. It must be waived for this prosecution.
There's no immunity for you to take.
Also,
I remember that crime, that's when your immunity clause starts.
I also remember that there were conditions preceding this payments by the Ministry of Finance, and the Minister of Finance stated clearly that they must spend this money XYZ way.
75% ought to go to paying salaries. Right.
So we're waiting.
That was one of the conditions.
So really, no state should be owing.
I'd rather that, you know, they pay salaries of workers who work for government, not appointees of government, ministers, special advisors.
We'll get there.
And
moving on
moving
there. Daily Sun.
Calm down.
Aftermath of Supreme Court judgments, PDP, McAfee kicks out sheriff's men, orders dissolution of splinter chapters as party schedules special convention for August 12th. They can do whatever they like, says sacked faction spokesman. 500 cows arrested in Abuja. Western Lotus storms Abuja, Nasarawa. Controversy rocks Kanu's visit to Ezinri. 37 killed in fresh herdsmen farmer clash in Kaduna. FG orders residents to vacate flood-prone areas. Today's rain was an example. Yeah. And Nigerians spend $5 billion fueling generators, says Dogara.
So I have two stories. I want to take the Nigeria spending $5 billion and the story of cows being seized. So Abuja, the picture was trending a few days ago about Abuja cows running into the road. Yesterday, they said 36 cows were seized in Abuja, and that will make a total of 500 that have been seized since January. This is to deter herdsmen from bringing their cows into the city. I think we can be more firm concerning that.
They didn't say if the cows were returned or if the herdsmen actually were, the herdsmen...
They were trying the herdsmen, that's what the report just said. They didn't say who is in custody of the cows right now.
Yes, but anyways.
But then Dogara was speaking at an hearing saying that Nigeria spends a total of $5 billion fueling generators, and that is not a sustainable way to grow our economy, and that we should look towards renewable energy, things that will make our environment green. Okay, so he's the head of the, he's the speaker and it is within his jurisdiction to ensure that we make power works if he wants to.
And also, aside from that, they should make laws to ensure that the states are empowered to provide power for their state. Because Lagos State was trying to do the same thing.
What Lagos State was doing was power. The power they were doing was glorified massive generators. It was, yeah, so it's
but
really
there's a law that doesn't allow us to actually...
in the days of Governor Tinubu, Lagos State was going to generate its own power in collaboration with Enron. The federal government at the time stopped it. That wasn't glorified generator.
So they need to change
power generation.
So they now need to change the law. So that's
exclusive list.
You should start with that first.
Do your own part. Don't just talk shop.
Moving on.
I wanted to quickly talk about flooding and federal government saying we should move away from flood-prone areas. I drove through Lagos today expecting flooding, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised to see that our roads were clear, except for a few bad patches on the road that were flooded.
You're on the
Lagos
mainland.
State is doing the right thing. Yeah,
you're on
You
mainland.
also, the Apapa Expressway was flooded this morning.
Yeah, so let's hear from the Lekki guys.
Let's do the magic.
In the next few hours, we'll see some pictures. So hopefully they've cleared those gutters. Moving on to Vanguard very quickly. Insecurity, Lagos government cancels vacation classes to meet education stakeholders for holistic measures. Mixed reactions trail end of session celebration at Igbonla. 6 Igbonla students still captive 56 days after. Dogara raises alarm as Nigerians spend $5 billion annually on generators. Scores killed in the renewed southern Kaduna violence. UN regrets killing of 97 Nigerians in Bakassi. Comments Osinbajo. PDP NEC okays August 12 for non-elective convention. So this security, the Lagos State.
Lagos State, in trying to curb the kidnapping of school children, has warned, that parents should keep their wards at home during the vacation, rather than send them to vocational classes.
Especially in the public schools. Yeah. They usually have vacation classes. So you're saying, listen, we don't want to be the one in charge of the kids. Over these holidays, all the schools in that area, stay in your house. No more vacation classes.
But I don't think that is it's a short-term solution.
And just at least to protect the children that are available right now. And also the same school where the kids were kidnapped, they're having a graduation party. And some people felt it was distasteful that the 6 of your colleagues are not around. But the school is saying, listen, these are SS3 graduates.
They are going.
They are moving on. It's the usual practice to celebrate them.
It doesn't matter.
Life goes on.
It doesn't matter.
Those that and it's so bad.
Who's saying what?
I wanted to say, it's also very important that set can say we could have had a party, but because we were in solidarity with our friends who were in captivity at the time, we didn't have a party. It's also important. That is also commendable.
The price they have
to pay. It doesn't have to say life moves on.
You don't get it. We're supposed to breed responsibility in these children. So I'm saying that life will move on, and we are making it look like life should just move on. It shouldn't. Those children are still held captive after 57 days. Life shouldn't just move on.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So, well, let's take a break. Unfortunately, we can't get to this day. When we come back, SERAP's call to the federal government to recover monies paid to ex-governors currently serving as senators and ministers. And later, we'll discuss Nigeria's debt burden. To borrow or not to borrow? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged the federal government to recover the more than 40 billion so far received by ex-governors currently serving as senators and ministers, according to the executive director of SERAP, Mr. Adetokunbo Mumuni. He said the politicians were already enjoying pensions and other privileges and ought not to receive further emoluments from the federal government. Meanwhile, a letter is said to have been dispatched to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, to initiate steps towards the recovery of the funds. The organization has expressed concerns that many of these serving senators and ministers were receiving salaries and life pensions running into billions of naira from states that were currently unable to pay salaries. With the current state of our economy, should these excesses not be curtailed? It's your view. Call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. Now, this the fact that the governors or the ex-governors get these amounts of money is
on a very controversial level, Mariah, and starting with Senate President Saraki, whose son just graduated from a UK university recently, and the state citizens were saying, we don't have universities in Kwara State. Your own son is graduating abroad. And one young Kwaran that Saraki had given a scholarship to China came out and debunked and said that he will be offending God if he does not come out to say that Saraki, while governor and even as Senate president, gives out scholarship to a few students. And I'm thinking, do you know how much he earns in pension from your state? So how many people can he give scholarship, as opposed to allowing the state have its resources and funding education for the larger populace? Now, SERAP, Socioeconomic Reports and Acts,
Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability
projects are saying that some of our ex-governors, and there are 47 of them across 21 states, have collected over 40 billion. And they're saying, aside from collecting pension, some of them are still in
ministerial positions,
ministers in Senate, in House of Assembly. And if you go to states like Lagos State, where the ex-governor is supposed to get 300% severance pay,
right. A house, I can list you what Lagos State.
Go ahead.
He's supposed to get 2 houses, one in Lagos,
one in Abuja.
One in Abuja, estimated cost of 700 million.
Yes.
6 brand of new cars, furniture allowance of 300% of annual salary to be paid every 2 years. Close to 2.5 million monthly as pension, about 30 million naira annually. Also entitled to free medicals with his immediate families, as well as house maintenance, car maintenance, entertainment and utility allowances, in addition to several domestic staff.
Have you called 6 brand new cars?
Yes, I mentioned
replaceable
that.
every 3 years.
Even in Rivers, the law provided 100% of annual basic salaries of ex-governor and deputy, 1 residential house for the former governor, anywhere of his choice. 1 residential house for the deputy. See, we can go on.
Can you go to Akwa Ibom?
Yes.
Because I'd like to talk about
Akwa let me see if I think I have Akwa Ibom.
The law provides for 200 million annual pay to ex-governors and deputies, and
pension
also
for life.
provides a life rate equivalent to the salary of the incumbent governor and deputy respectively.
Right.
Do you know how many months salary
figures,
that state is owing?
Okay, but
these figures makes me, it gives me shivers. The problem for me is the lack of independence of the legislative arms of each state each state governors or each state in this situation now, because SERAP is saying that they're asking the Attorney General to initiate process to recover these monies, and I'm wondering if these monies are being paid by law. There's a law that now
state laws,
empowering
whoever is in charge of these monies to pay
so the real issue
have only held office for 4 years or 8 years maximum.
Is that we need to ensure that our House of Assemblies in each state is independent of the governor and make laws.
Now let me finish what I'm saying. Even if the situation now is that they are not independent of the governors, they should at least have something moral conscience to worry them when this kind of bills come. These things were bills. I remember when they were debating the one for Akwa Ibom. We were on this couch, on this couch on your view. We talked about it, and I wondered how the state of House of Assembly members, nobody was dissenting. It didn't take them 2 weeks to pass this into law. It was worrisome because the governor was moving out. Even in Edo State, my state of origin, they they passed this law within the shortest time frame, and we will have serious bills that can change lives. Those ones will take forever to be read and passed.
I wanted to talk about the fact that even if it is legal for governors to earn 40 billion naira, or people that are already within, I'm saying cumulative, what we've spent over them. Yeah. If it is legal for them to earn it, it is not moral for them to take it. So you have Kwara State, Bukola Saraki, that has been owing 11 months. I confirmed from Vanguard. Their report online says that Kwara is owing 11 months' salary. And Bukola Saraki is the president, Senate President Bukola Saraki, can morally draw pension while he is being paid. It is both morally wrong.
Just like you said, talk about earlier, we can't totally confirm if indeed this
so this is according to
money.
What Sarah said.
To the law, we are saying according to the law, according to what Sarah is saying. So, well, it's possible that some governors saying I don't want it. Keep it. It's possible. We don't know.
Bukola Saraki, you remember? Was it this year or last year when he said that he does what was it that his social responsibility
with the money
that he gives the money to the less privileged,
right.
And we said on this couch, don't collect it.
Yes,
we have Ekiti State owing 6 months salary. And they have 2 people from their state that is earning pension, working and still earning salary from this duplicity. And then the people that have labored and served for 30 years, the people that are meant to collect their pension, are queuing up and waiting for verification years over, and they die there.
May I just quickly link it to the Paris Club refund? Now, Kemi Adeosun was saying that the second tranche of 243.8 billion was released to 36 states and Abuja, right? Now, in this second tranche, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Kano and Rivers received the largest sum of 10 billion naira each.
Let me pause you for a second. I have a call. Morning, are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Hello, this is Joshua from Niger State.
Hi, Joshua. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, we can hear you.
Good morning to Mariah. Good morning to all the ladies in the house. I want to congratulate you people for this very wonderful topic discussing this morning.
Thank you.
And let's just not deceive ourselves. You see, they think they were fools, ex-governors and others, they are fools. But let them remember that there is a God in heaven and there is death. Hope you are getting it.
That's that prayer. Leave it for God.
This death is something that they will pay as a price one day.
Okay.
So,
thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you very much.
But while we are leaving it for God, remember that there are students in Lautech that have been in their final year, medical students, since 2007. So, why do our leaders think that they will send their own children abroad? They will come back and live in Nigeria in houses with high fences. You are setting your children up.
It's painful when you think about it.
It's the society. I think we number one, we don't have value for human lives in Nigeria. You're okay driving past the hospital, see a family, crying at the hospital entrance because they cannot afford to pay hospital bill, and it's not your concern that, okay, how do I put a system in place where these people can always have access to health, but let me just give them handout, let me help them, so they will dance me, and that's it. And then the way we are also comfortable in getting handouts, and once you're done, you go into there's no bold politician anymore.
Let me pause.
Nobody is bold enough to to say I'd rather be a speaker that.
Talk from Ogun State. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Mariah, I agree to now.
I agree to you back.
The issue is that the lawmakers in the states are rubber stamped. Always thinking for their stomach. That's why any bill that they take it to, they will just pass it. The independence of the House of Assembly is very important. But they will not agree. The governors they are under the governors, giving them money, all those things. It's very bad in our situation now, and our country the way we are now, and somebody is collecting such amount of money. I even collecting in the National Assembly here too, paying them. The government should go up and do it.
All right.
We cannot continue like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mariah, the elections for local governments will be
on
this
Saturday.
weekend. And I did videos and someone was replying that, oh, we don't need to vote, we know who would win. And I say that if every one of you go out and you investigate who you think will do the job and you vote that person into power, you hold the person accountable. We cannot continue to sit down like this because our future is at stake.
The person accountable? I personally have
it's interesting you mentioned it because I was driving yesterday and I saw some people.
The campaign.
Extremely, you could see them, obviously, these are like the downtrodden of the society. And they were holding brooms. There was a man, he was looking very frustrated. He just gave him a broom and he was just looking at it.
Where next are we going? It's a 1,000 naira job.
It's a 1,000 naira.
It's a 1,000 naira
I wanted to park the car and say, okay, this person that you're holding broom for, do you know him?
No, he doesn't.
Do you what do you know about exactly?
He needs
doesn't
to
care.
eat that day.
So Morayo,
he needs that 1,000 naira to survive for that day.
So
our leaders know that when we are in that desperate situation, whatever they give to you, handout, you will collect.
Less than 100 people collect 40 billion naira. The rest of Nigeria. The rest of Nigeria left to fend for themselves. I think that we must be more aware of what is going on, and we must let our voices be heard. What is happening with Mila, it shouldn't just be let to go like that.
So, you know what? All of us here must vote.
Yes.
We must vote.
I'm not just voting, I'm campaigning.
Yes.
Do you know them?
I know them.
Okay, now I asked around my area that have you seen any campaigners? Have you seen any local government candidates come around? You know what they did? They just went to the little heads of traditional heads, rulers to introduce themselves. That's campaign. Nobody's campaigning within my local government.
There's a tweet. Oladimeji Olatunji says, who is going to pass the law when the so-called politicians are the benefactors? God save us.
All right, that's
we will
do.
We'll
continue talking.
Let's take a break now. Unfortunately, we can't take any more of that. When we come back, this issue of to borrow or not to borrow, they keep saying one day they're saying we are not borrowing again. Next day they're saying we are still borrowing. We don't understand. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. 2 days after the Finance Minister, Kemi Adeosun, said the federal government must move away from debt funding for the funding for the future budgets. She clarified her statement saying Nigeria has no choice but to continue to borrow. In order to implement the federal government's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP. Speaking at the forum, she said Nigeria needs to generate more money to fund its budget. We have to mobilize additional revenue with the recent fall in oil price, which will also affect this year's budget. How do we resolve economic issues? What is the solution to our ailing economy? Joining us is an economist, Tunji Andrews. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Celebrity
economist.
07080668014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right. So when Kemi Adeosun earlier said that, Nigeria
have to stop borrowing.
We have to just block the leakages and try to increase our IGR. We can't. She said that I think on Tuesday. Then Thursday or 2 days after, her Dambata, the head of finance or the director
Information.
of finance, director of information in the Ministry of Finance, now came to say no, nothing has changed. We're still going to borrow. What did you make of this entire confusion that seemed earlier when it happened?
When I heard that she said we're not going to borrow, I knew it had to be a mix-up because there really is no short-term plan in terms of switching to revenue. Yeah. Revenue is still a long way from meeting our budget, so there's no other option than to borrow. So the clarification, even though I would love to see a lot more, but yeah, I expected the clarification to happen. There's nothing we can do. We have to borrow.
I want to ask you a question though. Because she mentioned that if we can sustainably block the loopholes. Now, we know that a lot of our money goes into what it shouldn't go into. And if we actually spend whatever little we have is spent specifically on what it was budgeted for, we will see the impact. So that what can they do? Are we serious about blocking the loopholes? Can we survive without borrowing?
Well, if there's going to be a government that is going to do it, I'm not sure it's going to be this one. And I'll explain why. In 2015, Nigeria's budget, the entire budget was about 4.4 trillion naira. This year, 2017, the recurrent expenditure alone is 4.9 trillion naira.
So what are we doing?
Well, you have to ask them. Somehow we've been able to expand recurrent to a very large extent, which surprises me, and it really gets me confused.
They're supposed to be cutting down.
Exactly. So those are the questions that we need to start asking, and especially their own way of raising debt is a bit confusing. The previous administration was very aggressive to borrowing in naira. they are more suited to borrowing in dollars, which has expanded our, debt profile. We're now close to
19 trillion.
We're about 22% of GDP, and as in 2015, we're about 15% of GDP, debt to GDP. And
so 5% difference in 2 years.
But she's saying rightly, though, that our debt to GDP profile is amongst the lowest in Africa.
Well, you see, there is.
But the thing about the rest of Africa is if you're borrowing for infrastructure, I mean, and your borrowing is 50% of your GDP, you know that you're going to make back the money as opposed to
Namibia.
We're also borrowing for restructuring, really. That's what they say, but I don't know.
But the requirement is over 70%.
Okay, let's stop. Debt to GDP is one of those metrics that we economists use to try and make ourselves feel good. In the real context to it, I would like to look at this from an accounting perspective. An accountant will look at debt as a function of debt to revenue.
Okay.
Nobody looks at it of debt to worth, because that's what we are, debt to GDP. Debt to revenue is over 50%. At this particular point, we are paying about 50% of the money we make into debt servicing.
It's just servicing, then the debt is still there.
It's not paying the debt itself, so it's just servicing it. So every year, this year we're going to pay about 50% of our revenue, which brings a lot of concerns, and we're still borrowing more.
Imagine. Over 2 trillion.
So when will we pay the debt?
It's almost insane when you think about the economic situation and the impossibility of a way out. So help me understand, you were talking about revenue to fund the budget, and we do not have this. In how many years, because you're an expert, do you think we can get there? What do you think we can do so that we'll just know that this is the reality, whatever they are saying, we'll not be believing, but we'll just have the real picture. What can we do, and when can we start to say Nigeria can use their own revenue to fund budgets without having to borrow and borrow and borrow?
Well, I'll explain with this. It's a bit of a long story. You need to have a plan to be able to do what you're asking about. And that is my biggest frustration. I don't see a concrete plan.
We have ERGP.
ERGP is it's supposed to expire sometime around 2019, and it's a lot of wishes. It's a lot of assumptions, a lot of expectations that a lot of us know we're not going to achieve, but it is an aspiration to, let's aspire to something great, right?
Yes.
But the context is, if you want to look at countries like India, countries like Brazil, because let's not even look at Brazil, countries like Singapore, China, their exit from poverty was a very deliberate action. It was slow, it was deliberate. So for instance, India decided, we have a huge population, let's look at fixing this, the strength of this population. So they focused on education, they focused on healthcare, and they've seen their economy boom out of that. Nigeria, we seem not to, we're focused on things like roads.
Let me say something.
Corrupt.
I think because sometimes people, I get confused.
Yeah.
It's almost as if, what do we want as a people?
Yeah.
We want a quick fix. Like we don't want to go through the process.
Exactly.
Sometimes in my head it's as if it's so easy to criticize than really understand that even India that we celebrate today, they went through a process.
Exactly.
This is, for me as a layman, what is what I'm thinking? In the X amount of years, funds were looted, all our money was stolen, we didn't have money, these guys came in, oil dropped all the way down, there was no revenue. So how do we make money? We don't have we don't even have the infrastructure. We don't have anything in place to make any revenue. All we have is this same oil. So we're saying we're borrowing. Borrowing to build infrastructure so that you have power, you have road, so at least to have normal, so the economy can even still be kicked off. That's what I'm thinking now. It doesn't happen overnight. These things, yes, you're right. Most of our budget is still being recurrent because people are poor. I can't just send them into the job markets and say civil servants are being sacked. So I need to keep them, at least have the daily bread to feed their families. Hanging there, I'm talking to him. I want you to understand the rationale of people who are saying, do we trust the government to at least follow this process where, yes, you're borrowing, but use this money for infrastructure. Yes, a percent of this is going for recurrent, but can't we trust that the government is going to take a few sometimes to at least get that infrastructure done to ignite the economy to work? Let me let you respond.
Well, I mean, you've asked so many questions. The first thing is we don't even know what we want as Nigerians to start with.
Okay.
It's when you know what you want that you now decide how we are going to get there.
Okay.
So we've not decided what we want Nigeria to be. India decided what they wanted to be and they've worked towards it. China decided what they want to be and worked towards it. What do we want Nigeria to be? Is it we want to be an agricultural hub? Do we want to be a labor hub? We've not decided yet. So the how has not even come into place. Fantastic. So getting there is a long, and the second thing is that government wants to do everything.
Right.
Government wants to be in control of everything. So for instance, aviation, they want to be the regulator, they want to be the facilitator, they want to build the runways, they want to do everything. So in that way, the truth about it is that we don't have the money. To be able to catch up, we need to spend at least $10 billion every year for the next 30 years. I'm not saying just 1 year. For the next 30 years, we need to spend $10 billion every year on infrastructure. The government doesn't have that money. Let's be real with ourselves. We don't have it. So first of all, the government needs to start looking seriously at how it's going to invite the private sector to work with it. But first, before you can invite the private sector, you have to give a long-term plan. Right. The private sector needs to know where you're going in the next 20 years.
You mentioned India. I know that India consciously created an IT hub, you know, so they turned Bangalore into IT, and then they created a medical tourism hub. They made that happen. So they were deliberate about it. We had a president, Obasanjo, that was deliberate about bringing our debt profile down
to zero.
And he pulled all the necessary resources to make it happen. Right. With the current economic crisis we're facing, do you think that our government has pulled all the necessary resources? Because we do have this manpower, we have the people that can do it. Do you think we've pulled all the necessary resources to ensure that we get the right plan to move out?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Let me take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So Nima had a question.
Okay. Now you're saying that it's a 30 years plan to get out of this. They've been diversifying the economy since forever. Recently, the Minister for Agriculture has exported all the yams. Go to Ketu now.
I can't find yam. Everywhere I drive, I can't find yam.
And
yam has been taken to...
I was saying when the policy was being, when they were debating that policy, that yam was already selling at over 1,000 naira per tuber.
Yes.
I was saying it on this couch, and it seemed like nothing was happening. Why is it that we're not looking to industry? We're not looking to,
the value chain.
The long-term value chain. And then regulating. We don't know what it is, to bring in investors. We just bring in investors at no cost, no environmental regulations. They pollute our environment. They take whatever. They just take the profit and go. Why are we not? What is the entire plan supposed to be like?
I think it's. I feel your frustration.
You just lamented. You didn't ask a question. Temi, are you there? Temi, are you there? Thanks for calling. Hello, Temi.
I'm still here.
Please go ahead. Thanks for calling.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
This?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
So please
I feel your frustration, and the first of all, diversification is one of the buzzwords we like to have in Nigeria. The new one is restructuring. We just like those things that feel good words. We don't like to do the work. We don't like to do the long term, sit down, plan, fulfill the entire process, because the yam thing you were talking about just felt like a wave. Somebody just woke up and said, oh, there's yam needed somewhere, let's export yam. And the person didn't get to ask themselves, is the market for yams, is it oversaturated in Nigeria that you want to export the excess? But like I said, it's those factors of the fact that we don't have a concise long-term plan where everybody can key into, say, okay, in aviation, for instance, will now key into this plan, agriculture will key into this plan, because I mean, that's For instance, governors, I mean, they celebrate things like I built a road. You know, they don't celebrate the fact that I came in and the IGR was, you know, 100 naira, and now it is 5 billion naira as I'm leaving. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the fact that we've been able to create several industries.
You know, because our people also don't see
exactly.
So what's even funny is that you export the yam, for instance, at 10 billion. By the time you are importing the byproducts,
the flour,
you are going to be spending 100 billion. You know, being penny wise and pound foolish. But this year, the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, decried our borrowing attitude.
We like to decry.
Where do we synchronize our fiscal and
I'm looking for the word.
Fiscal and monetary policy.
Monetary policies. Because he's saying something else. The finance minister saying something else.
Let me take Bukola. She's been holding for a while. Bukola, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Good morning.
Go ahead, please.
I'm calling from Ajigula. My own contribution is, why do we need to keep borrowing money when we know we have enough in our pocket? Let me go a bit different from what we're talking about. What about the money they are discovering all over the places in Nigeria? They should put them in writing that we discover such an amount of money from this place, that let's make use of that money and they should be accountable for it. We don't need to create problems for our children coming in the future. We keep borrowing money and everything. Some people are keep eating the money. Don't let us be fooling ourselves. I think we need to change some things in our constitution.
Thank you very much, Bukola.
Who will change the constitution?
You're very correct, yes.
I totally agree. I believe we need to create stronger institutions. Our recent $500 billion bond, to which we got the Euro bond we got, it's a 15-year Euro bond. And it means that this administration, even if it spends 2 terms, would be gone before we finish paying. So that means if it judiciously uses it or not, the inheritors will continue to pay.
Yes.
So everybody is clamoring for restructuring one way or the other. They want let's restructure, let's control our resources. Do you think that's the solution? One, you mentioned that what we should be celebrating as an accomplishment is increase of IGR. Now, when we continue to go cap in hand every month to collect our allocation, and we base our budget on what we get as allocation, can we move forward with that system?
I don't think so. The people who are misadministrating the states, owing salaries and all of that, will still be the ones that will rule those regions. So my question is, can we create stronger institutions?
Help me understand this tweet, please. Someone said to move away from borrowing for our economy, borrowing economy for our infrastructural needs, government should look towards concessionary funding. Please help me understand how concessionary funding can, you know, help us in this situation.
I don't think concessionary funding is the way. I think it is a public-private partnership is the way forward. You know, bring in private institutions who are infrastructure-based. They know how to fund infrastructure. They know how to maintain infrastructure. And then we toll it. You know, Nigerians are used to not paying for anything. You know, we want a developed economy, but we don't want to pay for it.
Unfortunately, we have to run up, but just give us that final statement of what you think we can do to help boost this economy, to take us from this situation we're in right now.
I think it's just to be deliberate and plan properly. It's this whole wishing that Nigeria was going to be better and praying about it is not going to work.
Right.
You have to do the work.
Unfortunately, we have to round up. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
being here. That's all we can take on the show. Bye-bye.